Everybody go back to the show. So this is Tales of the Empire. So a couple of short stories featuring Varys Offee, which I was kind of initially excited about, knowing the character from the EU and, of course, the movies. She's barely featured on screen, but these are the type of stories I like to see. Like the expanded universe is full of stories like this, like lesser known characters that normally aren't featured heavily in the films, like Skywalker and Kenobi. So this was quite a treat for me because in the Clone Wars series, they had Barriss turn out to be a Dark Jedi or something, which I thought was completely out of character for her. So like going into this, I'm like, okay, so they gotta finally redeem her because I just don't buy her turning like that out of nowhere. It's like Barriss Offee turning to the dark side, like what? Like I know like there's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this timeline, but like Barriss Offee turns to the dark side to me is kind of ridiculous. It's out of character, in my opinion. It's nowhere near as bad as what they did with Yaddle. That was just straight up disrespectful to the character. But Varys turning is, yeah. They did something interesting with her in this little miniseries they did here, like 3 episodes with Varys Offee. Unfortunately, they leave it at a cliffhanger, so hopefully there'll be more stories like this to summarize that arc. Now, this character here is an Inquisitor. So with the Inquisitors, they basically represent Vader in a way. So they recruit fallen Jedi, and you have two choices: join or die, basically. So they torture you until you either surrender or they just let you get they kill you off. This is a little bit darker than what most people are used to seeing in Star Wars. So I kind of appreciate that. They don't really seem to go that dark in the Disney Wars era. Every other show is about someone babysitting some dumb kid, like Space Aladdin or the Omega Show. It's a waste of time. So I like it because she actually showed conflict. People always act like, oh, when you go down a dark path, you'll always stay in a dark path. It's not always true. In the Old Republic, the Jedi pretty much are kind of the villains. They mind wiped Revan, who was a Sith Lord, and they trained him to be a Jedi. So they kind of redeemed him right there. I guess in the back of their minds, they thought that he would hoped he wouldn't revert back to his Sith ways, but ultimately they did redeem him, and he in the canon ending he was a Jedi. So what most Dark Force users do is they put you through a series of tests, like an Old Republic had this. I think it was KOTOR 2, where you go to the Sith tombs, and it's basically your Jedi trials, but it's for the Sith. You go into the tomb, look for artifacts, and the big test is if you survive, because they're full of traps and whatnot. Of course, they don't tell you what to expect at all, just part of the test. So here's the Grand Inquisitor. He actually has a really cool design, which was kind of cool to see in I think it was the Kenobi series. Which a shame he got killed off. I think it would have been cool to see him in one of the films down the line. I'm like, if we ever get a Star Wars film. I can't believe I'm living in a world where Star Wars is not going to be on the big screen anymore. Just not anytime soon. No Luke Skywalker, no Han Solo, no Leia, no Lando. Ridiculous. It's like I'm in the Twilight Zone or something. If I remember correctly, I think that part of our test is to take one of the other two out. Don't remember entirely, but it's usually some kind of a rigorous test. But like the Sith and Jedi are kind of similar. So, the Jedi put you through some trial as well. You basically test your mind and your commitment to the light side of the Force. Every Jedi's trial is different. So, like I was saying, I like seeing some of these lesser known characters get the spotlight. Like we're about to see Varys' ultimate test to become an Inquisitor. I wonder if this is what Trilla went through in the Fallen Order games. See, for a Jedi will go to the planet Ilum and find the saber crystals and build a lightsaber. The Sith, well, we don't really get red saber crystals, have crystals in Ilum. So the Sith lightsabers are kind of like, well, they're all red crystals, but like, I think these days they're connected to your emotions. Like in Jedi Survivor, that crazy guy in the High Republic or whatever. He had a yellow lightsaber, but when Cal took him out of the tank, his saber turned red. His hyper crystal turned red. So they changed a lot of stuff in that specific lore, which I'm not really crazy about. Like a little too Harry Potter for me. To go see the cover crystal chooses you. Like no, it doesn't. You just pick a color and then go with it. You very rarely see blood in Star Wars, so this is kind of interesting. I remember playing the KOTOR 1 and 2 all the time as a kid. Still have it on Xbox. I don't think this is probably the Inquisitive Fortress. It might be. I don't know for sure. I'm about to say I thought it was Vader. So I'm like, oh shit. This is gonna be another part of the test of proving her worth to become an Inquisitor. Basically, they're gonna tell her that she has to kill her in order to be worthy. Now, this is unexpected for Barris because I've never seen her as this dark character this show tried to make her. Which is why I'm like, it's imperative that we redeem her in some way because she passed the test and now here's her Inquisitor helmet. Yeah, just I kind of resisted the idea of Barris being an Inquisitor or any type of dark side user. I'm like, yeah, doesn't really fit the character in that. No, in the books, she's a healer, which is ultimately what she becomes in this at the end of this arc. So that's kind of cool to see. But I just don't buy her being an Inquisitor. Now, this dude kneeling down is from the Ahsoka series. The guy with the strange helmet. It should be Vader coming out right now. Yep, that's Vader. Holy cow. This is Darth Vader's castle? It only has a couple of bases around the galaxy. One's on Mustafar, one's on Biss. You see the one from Mustafar in the Kenobi series. Yeah, I know Vader recognizes her. So that was a cool little episode. I like these small stories. It reminds me of the expanded universe, which is my Star Wars era. And I like the way this arc is done. I like seeing Barris in the spotlight. This is something I was really clamoring for with other characters like Ki-Adi-Mundi or Kit Fisto, Quinlan Voss. Characters that most people would probably like never give a second glance to because Clone Wars series is so focused on Kenobi and Skywalker. Just overlook everybody else. But it's good nonetheless.